Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a major development that could directly impact millions of retirees, people with disabilities, and Social Security beneficiaries across America. A new bill proposing a $200 monthly Social Security increase. That's an extra $2,400 a year for those struggling with rising living costs. It's a proposal that's gaining national attention, and for good reason. In a time when inflation, rent, and healthcare costs are climbing fast, even a modest increase like this could make a huge difference. Let's break down what this bill means and who might benefit. The proposed bill, often referred to as the Social Security Expansion Act, was introduced by lawmakers who say it's time to strengthen the program that millions of Americans rely on. Originally sponsored by Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, the bill's goal is simple: make Social Security payments more generous and financially secure for current and future retirees. The key feature of this proposal is the $200 monthly increase in benefits for every person currently receiving Social Security. It's designed to help offset inflation and the rising cost of essentials like food, utilities, and housing. So, what does a $200 increase really mean? For someone living on the average monthly Social Security check, about $1,900 in 2025. This boost would raise their income to roughly $2,100 per month. That might not sound huge to some, but for millions of seniors living on fixed incomes, that's the difference between affording groceries or skipping meals, paying for prescriptions, or delaying health care. It's about dignity and security in retirement, something that's becoming harder to maintain as costs continue to outpace benefits. Now let's talk about who would qualify. The proposed increase would apply to everyone currently receiving Social Security, including retirees, people with disabilities through SSDI, and survivors of deceased workers. In other words, if you're getting a Social Security check each month, this $200 boost would go directly to you. There are no income caps, age restrictions beyond normal eligibility, or application requirements. It's a universal increase meant to help all beneficiaries, especially those living close to or below the poverty line. The motivation behind this bill is clear. Inflation is hurting retirees more than ever. Over the past few years, the cost of groceries, rent, utilities, and health care has risen dramatically. While Social Security benefits include annual cost of living adjustments, COLAs, many seniors say they're still falling behind. For example, a 3% COLA increase doesn't mean much when rent goes up by 10% and prescription prices rise by 8%. Lawmakers argue that this $200 monthly boost is a much-needed lifeline to help older Americans keep up with real-world expenses. But here's the big question: how will this be paid for? Critics often argue that Social Security is already under financial strain, and adding new benefits could worsen the program's solvency issues. However, supporters of the bill have a plan. They propose raising the payroll tax cap, which currently only applies to wages up to $168,600. That means millionaires stop paying Social Security taxes on income above that amount. By requiring high earners to contribute more, the bill aims to fully fund the $200 increase without burdening middle-class workers. Let's break that down further. Right now, someone earning $60,000 pays Social Security taxes on every dollar of their income, while a billionaire pays the same amount as someone making $168,600. That's less than 1% of their total income being taxed for Social Security. The new proposal would remove this cap so that high-income earners pay their fair share on wages over $250,000. This change alone could generate hundreds of billions in additional revenue over the next decade, enough to both fund the increase and strengthen the trust fund. Another major goal of the bill is to improve the long-term solvency of Social Security. According to the latest reports from the Social Security Administration, the trust fund that pays retirement benefits could face shortfalls by the mid-2030s if nothing changes. By increasing taxes on top earners and expanding benefits, lawmakers hope to create a system that's not only fairer, but also more sustainable. Supporters argue that this approach helps preserve the promise of Social Security for future generations, while giving current retirees the relief they desperately need. Of course, not everyone agrees. Opponents of the bill argue that increasing benefits across the board could fuel inflation or add unnecessary costs to an already strained program. They say the focus should be on reforming Social Security, not expanding it. Some suggest means testing, giving larger increases only to lower-income recipients rather than raising payments for everyone. But supporters counter that Social Security is an earned benefit, not a welfare program, and that all recipients deserve a fair increase after years of paying into the system. The proposal also highlights a deeper issue. Many seniors are living in poverty. Despite decades of hard work, around 1 in 5 older Americans relies almost entirely on Social Security for income. The average benefit barely covers basic living expenses, especially in cities where rent and health care are sky high. The $200 monthly increase is meant to restore some financial breathing room and prevent retirees from falling through the cracks. For millions of seniors, it could be the difference between stability and hardship. Another key feature of the bill involves updating how COLA increases are calculated. Currently, Social Security's annual adjustments are tied to the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, CPI-W. But this measure doesn't accurately reflect the spending patterns of retirees, who spend more on health care and housing. The new proposal would switch to the CPIE, or Elderly Index, which better accounts for seniors' true cost of living. This change could ensure more accurate yearly adjustments and help prevent future erosion of benefits. Supporters say that between the $200 monthly boost and the CPIE adjustment, retirees would finally see benefits that keep pace with reality. It's a bold plan aimed at reducing economic anxiety among seniors while protecting future generations. And unlike one-time stimulus checks, this increase would be permanent, building a stronger foundation for retirement security. Lawmakers are framing it not as a handout, but as a correction to decades of underfunding and policy neglect that have left older Americans struggling to make ends meet. The bill also calls for improved benefits for widows, widowers, and disabled workers. Many surviving spouses see their income drop dramatically after losing a partner because of how survivor benefits are calculated. The new bill would reform those formulas to ensure surviving beneficiaries don't lose financial stability after a loved one's death. Similarly, it seeks to modernize Social Security Disability Insurance (SSDI) rules, making it easier for people with disabilities to qualify for fair benefits without endless red tape or outdated income limits. While the proposal is gaining support, it still faces an uphill battle in Congress. Any changes to Social Security require bipartisan agreement, and lawmakers are divided on whether to expand or trim the program. Some say it's too costly, others insist it's overdue. With elections approaching, the issue is becoming increasingly political. Many Americans are now watching closely to see whether their representatives support this $200 increase, because it could signal how much they value retirees and working-class Americans who depend on these checks. Public opinion, however, seems clear. Polls show that a majority of Americans, across party lines, support expanding Social Security, even if it means higher taxes on the wealthy. Most people agree that after a lifetime of paying into the system, retirees deserve a benefit that truly supports their needs. This growing pressure from voters might push Congress to act sooner rather than later. Seniors advocacy groups and organizations like AARP are also rallying behind the proposal, emphasizing that retirement dignity should be a national priority. If the bill passes, the $200 increase would likely take effect in early 2026, after the IRS and SSA make necessary updates. Beneficiaries would automatically see the increase in their monthly deposits, similar to how COLA adjustments are applied each January. There would be no need to apply or file paperwork. For many retirees, that extra $2,400 a year could cover rising insurance premiums, prescription costs, or even a few months of groceries, small but vital relief during an era of economic uncertainty. Even if the bill doesn't pass in its current form, it's sparking a national conversation about how America treats its seniors. The $200 increase might just be the starting point for broader reforms, like raising the minimum benefit, protecting the trust fund, or improving cost of living formulas. Regardless of politics, the message is clear. Retirees are struggling, and they need meaningful support. Whether through this bill or a future compromise, lawmakers will be under growing pressure to act before the next election cycle. In conclusion, the $200 Social Security increase bill represents more than just extra money. It's about protecting dignity, stability, and fairness for millions of older Americans. With inflation squeezing fixed incomes and healthcare costs climbing, this proposal could provide real relief for those who need it most. While its future in Congress remains uncertain, one thing is clear: the fight to strengthen Social Security isn't over. Stay tuned for updates and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.